Let's talk about the Strength card. Hi, I'm Kat with Taming the Tangle, and I'm going through some tarot deep dives, and these are just fun explorations of the cards. And with Strength, there can be confusion with different decks because the number is sometimes number 11, and it's more recently been changed to number 8. It was originally card number 11. I'm treating it like it's card number 8, but just know you need to honor whatever the numerology is that is on your card and see what's apparent in your deck, because when it changed at some point in the past few decades, um, with some reasons that I'm not even going to go into, but they're very interesting. Um, that different artists choose different ones, different reasons as to why they make Strength 8 or 11, whether they're going with the old system or the new system. So Strength is sometimes reversed with Justice. Those two cards interchange. But I am going to be talking about Strength as number 8. So it's 8 in the light cycle of the Major Arcana, the journey of the light. And when we think about the wheel of tarot, everything in tarot happens in cycles of 10. And you start at the 1 and go around, and 10 is sort of that sense of closure, accomplishment. So 8 is getting very close to that, but it's still like you're at the end, but you're still needing quite a bit more effort, some more spiritual wherewithal to get to that completion point, which I won't even call it a finish line because things happen in cycles. Things aren't in lines like that. So it's just preparing you for the next cycle of the journey and preparing you for the next journey. So that's a good thing to keep in mind with the 8, that spiritual wherewithal, because in most cards of Strength, but your deck, you've got to look at what's there, but it often shows a woman with some type of beast, a wild beast that has some level of being tame, in the sense that it is willing to be next to her, and she is not usually have it tied up or anything like that. There's a type of agreement between the two. And I see this beast as very much being the beast that lives within each of us, that type of wildness that can be there. This can be show up in different types of emotions and how they come out. It can also show up as limiting beliefs, that kind of voice that we are arguing with internally of what is trying to keep us down or keep us small. And we've got to make peace with that and actually rise up with courage and strength, because there is work to be done out in the world, and the world needs your strongest, best self. We're all wrestling with these inner types of demons, and how we show up, whether it is in service or a little bit more optimistic, or is it angry and bitter all the time, is often a mirror of how we're dealing with that inner beast, or those inner beasts sometimes, that it can be definitely multiples. When the Strength card shows up for me in the spread, I definitely I get excited. I see it as a very positive card. I can very superficially just go, oh my gosh, I'm feeling strong. I just feel lifted up by seeing that word strength. But it also lets you know that there could be some call on your strength, some challenge to it, even that you need to tune into your foundations, your resilience, and see, is it solid? Are you doing well? And this isn't a suppression. This beast isn't shown in a cage. This is a working together with. So, you're not trying to suppress your emotions or suppress those internal beasts and critics. You're trying to find a way to kind of work with them, because all aspects of yourself deserve a seat at the table. Or, as I also like to talk about it, they all are on the bus, but they don't necessarily get to drive the bus. You get to decide. And so Strength reminds me of like, oh, right, don't let those beasts, those inner demons, whatever wording works for you. Don't let them be the drivers of the bus. You be the driver of the bus. You take in the information and the input that they give you, but you get to choose how you show up in the world. You get to be the one who figures out how you're going to react, how you're going to respond in situations. That is the only thing that you really have control over, is how you show up, how you react. And so that's what strength speaks to me of. I would love to know if you have any other takes on it, any other thoughts. I was just going to show one other card because, as I mentioned in each video, it's important for you to tune into the imagery that comes up in your card. There's no right or wrong. What are the intuitive messages that pop up depending on the question that you've asked, depending on the place that it's holding in a spread if this card appears? Things like that. That's all of that comes into place. There's no knowing exactly what this means until the situation arises and those messages arise. But I enjoy exploring the different types of things. And I think it's good to spend time with your cards so you become familiar with them, but don't feel programmed by them or programmed by information that you hear. So in this image of strength with the Star Tarot, I mean, there's so many layers of images with the lion, she's holding the snake. You have this crescent moon that's waxing, and then this light figure, infinity symbol, figure 8, that is on the woman's chest. And for me, especially with the way it's positioned, it lets me know the heart is at the center. It is the key. And you want as above, so these upper chakras to reflect as below in those lower chakras. Are you feeling balanced and centered? Are they an effective mirror of your heart, an effective mirror of each other? Is everything feeling balanced and alignment and harmony? All of those different types of things. Like, are you bringing that to the world, or is it being skewed in some way or another? When we are feeling whole in that sense of as above, so below, there's a sense of flow and peace and everything mixing together and not feeling so out of whack or out of balance. That's definitely a point when we have that sense of flow and inner kind of just harmony. That is a time for strength cards. You know, this doesn't have to be like a brute physical strength. I'm showing force over something. I mean, it generally isn't that. It's the exact opposite of that. It's more like things have come into alignment. You get to relax. There's a sense of peace. It's strong like bamboo. There's this resilience. There can be fluidity and flexibility, but it's not so fragile that it will break. There's a really good set of circumstances for weathering a storm, and for even doing well when the waters are calm, you know, of just feeling part of the flow of it all. So I love how that's captured in the figure 8. I also see, you know, with this masculine lion and then this feminine type of snake energy, which I associate with Shakti energy, that is rising, and that the masculine and feminine energies represented with the animals there, that is also that balanced mixture of what's happening internally, that those two are each bringing their strengths to the surface within you. So those types of masculine and feminine energetics, that they're both in the light aspects of those, and that's what's showing up in the strength that's being brought to whatever situation at hand, that it's feeling very balanced. There's no brute force, there's no dominance. It's sort of like this equanimity, this beautiful sense of service and flow. So I also love that 8s are very, in general, I think that number is very balanced, you know, that it's stable, but still very engaged and mature. There can be a point where there's a lot of infusion of energy because, like I said, you're getting close to that 10. So you're feeling definitely super energized by life. You're wanting to continue with your quest. This is, you know, it can be a beautiful resting point for re-energizing for those last 2 steps to get to at the end of the cycle. But there's still a deeper spiritual drive and motivation to continue. So this is a great thing to be having at this 8 point, because a couple steps away from heading into the shadow journey. If all things happened in order, which as I talk about in a lot of the videos, these cards don't happen in order. Rarely do we hit the cycles one by one by one. We do that sometimes in childhood, growing up. There can be this point of evolution, which I'll be talking about in the early cards of the light cycle of the Major Arcana. Some aspects that are a little like typical, that may or may not be your life, but that are typical trajectory that a lot of humans follow. But we hit those cards again and again throughout our lives, and they come up at different points, and there's new messages, new layers to come from them. So just keep that in mind, that that's another reason why when the cards show up, they don't just mean one thing. They're much more dynamic than that. So tune in and see what comes up for you. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments, or if there's a card that you'd like for me to talk about in depth that I haven't hit on yet. I'm just picking them, whatever feels good for me, but I'm also open to suggestions. If there's a favorite one that you would like to have a video about right away, I can do that as well. And as you know, I'm getting ready to teach some intuitive tarot reading classes where it's more about tools for bringing up your intuition, tuning into symbols on the cards, less about memorizing the cards. Actually, in the introductory series, it's not about memorizing the cards at all. It's all about developing that confidence and that voice of the oracle. So much more engaging type of class. Lots of practice with reading. I hope that you're practicing now, using the cards as a spiritual tool to help you learn more about yourself and kind of clear through the clutter. We're in some challenging times right now. And so just to clear through, put that stuff aside of what's happening in the day-to-day type of world, in the news world, and tune in spiritually for a moment and see where you're at, where your spirit is, and see what messages you can get from that. Happy exploring, and you can find more tips and tools in other areas on my website, tamingthetangle.com. I'd love to see you there, or over at Instagram, where I share lots of photography from my travels around the world, which is at taming_the_tangle. Thank you guys, and I'll see you soon in another video.